Alright, in the previous session, we saw the general knowledge versus current affairs, importance of current affairs we completed. In this session, we will try to look into the ways and means, techniques of how to do a categorization of the current affairs and general knowledge. See, general knowledge, as we told, is history, geography, economy, polity, science and technology, ecology, and so many more other things. Generally, I am usually the civil service aspirants, for example, people who are preparing for the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, IAS, IPS, we call it as a mother of all examinations. Why? Because if you are preparing, the syllabus is too vast, and if you are preparing for such an examination, which is so highly competitive, you are almost covering all that which is required for all the other examinations, right? Earlier, actually, UPSC was criticized that it was more subjective, and then there is no element of objectivity, no, math-based questions, analytical questions, etc. But then, since last 5-6 years, I think 7 years plus, they have changed. The first paper in the preliminary is general affairs, but then the second paper is again is on analytical and math skill. So, when we used to prepare, when I myself was an aspirant, and then I have coached a lot of people who have got into service, I always recommend to keep separate files, and then whatever you are reading, make notes and then put it. How the files should be maintained in the general knowledge, it should be maintained in this order, in this a kind of a taxonomy that we have developed: history, geography, economy, polity, science and technology, ecology, etc., etc. And then there are multiple subdivisions. For example, science and technology will have biology, that's botany, zoology. It would have technology separately. Then it will have pure science. History, for instance, we would have ancient history. Then we would have Indian history. Then medieval history. Then we have modern history. Then we have history after the independence, and we also have world history, right? So this is the classification or subdivision. Similarly, geography, we talk about Indian geography, we talk about physical geography, we talk about economic geography, and there are a couple of more other divisions. So we have to divide geography into various. Otherwise, you will not be able to compartmentalize the information that you are gathering. So note making is extremely an important step, about which I will also discuss and touch upon in the later slides. So these, for instance, economy, you have Indian economy, you have global economy, you have South Asian economy, you have a Middle East or the West Asian economy. So various types of economies. The world economic institutions are there. For instance, the World Bank, the IMF, the Asian Development Bank. So all these things are must be ensured that they are compartmentalized in silos. Otherwise, our memory will not be in a position to retain them. Then there is this polity. Polity is again the highlight of polity, or the most important, is not the politics. There is a difference between politics and polity. Polity means we are talking essentially about the conduct of politics, and what is that which conducts the politics or governs the politics is the Constitution. Constitution of India or Constitution of any country conducts the polities or regulates or controls the polity of that particular country. So the entire Constitution, one must be totally thorough, starting from your fundamental rights. Then you have the directive principles of state policy. Then you have your fundamental duties, and then there is this about the president. You have certain articles, and then about the center-state relationship, you have articles. Then about how the High Court should function, how the Supreme Court should function, how do the governors should function, how are all these constitutional people appointed, who is the Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, then what is a cabinet. All these things, whatever question connecting to administration and things like that, is answered by the polity. Of course, ecology is also one of the very, very important topic, which is a part of the general knowledge. Current affairs, again, international affairs or world affairs, governance, Today, whatever we are having the shortage of vaccine and so many challenges that our government and country is facing is all connected to the governance challenges. Similarly, environmental issues are there, right? So persons, appointments of persons, places in news, awards, sports, disaster management, all these fall under current affairs. See, these are all not exclusive. You may find more. What I'm only trying to tell you is you must be able to create files either in the system or physically files. You can take an L-shaped folder and when you make notes in an A4 sheet, just keep inserting it, keep giving dates to it and keep giving and inserting. See, again, when you read a paper, I don't know if I'm not having that slide, so I can talk about it here. When you read a paper, you must understand that this paper should be read. Let's assume you're reading a Deccan Herald paper. Whatever is required for you is just about 10 minutes in that paper. All others are just gossips. In the sense they are not totally relevant. They are, one person is saying that the other person is done a corruption, or there is a false claim or something like that, which is all speculations and things that is not relevant for us. We can actually read a paper in about 10 to 12 minutes or 15 minutes at the maximum, what is all essential for us. Alright. For example, there was an article on the LinkedIn losing some 5 million user data inadvertently for something. So that's a clear case of hacking. So what is it? It's a cyber security challenge. It's an issue. It's a cyber security problem, right? So like that, those things are relevant. You can understand what is the theme, capture it, and then you have to file it according to how I have listed, and then add more to it as well. So no one is stopping you from creating more and more categories, so that your note making and your planning and your memorizing and your reproducing of the content is systematic, scientific, and easier. Methodical submission, it is easier. Okay, I am now trying to connect the dots. Connecting the dots in the sense, trying to talk about what is the general knowledge and how you could, see all the things in perspective. With the general knowledge, seeing all other things in perspective is called as a current affair. For example, today's the general information that we are having. COVID is again a virus. A virus is something that is historically been affecting countries after countries. For instance, even India has, this is not the first time that we have a virus that is so devastating and killing people. It seems close to about 8 or 9 incidents like this have happened since the last 140, 150 years. The Spanish flu has started, and then we had the plague, we had the tuberculosis. Sanatoriums were opened all over the country, it seems, as the history. There is a study on epidemic history. Would you believe it? There is a study on epidemic history, how the epidemics have moved from one place to another, killing thousands and thousands of, taking lives, thousands of lives when it does pass through the geography, right? So virus is something which is a general knowledge. But then today, how are you going to give meaning and relevance to this, right? Simple. When I am just giving, if you can see in this history, you see, we know that we understand the roots of the virus. Where does the virus come from? All right. What is its background? What type of genetic sequence is it? Is it susceptible to mutation? Does it vary? All right. So then, we're talking of geography. Where did it evolve? And which are all the countries that are affected? So that comes under the scope of geography. Then polity. Can vaccine be forced? Today we are talking of bringing vaccine above 18 to all the people in India. But then can anybody say that you must and should take a vaccine? If a person says, I don't want vaccine, it could be any reason. It could be a fear of health or misinformation or religious mindset that you don't want to take any vaccine and leave it to God. So many challenges are there. But can you make it mandatory, or can you force people to take it? That the question is still in the Supreme Court, and it will be decided based on the broader context of the Constitution. All right. So that is a polity. Again, in the when it comes to economy, as we are saying, see the economy here, the costing, manufacture. Today we are getting so many vaccines released by all over the from different countries. We are having Johnson and Johnson, Moderna is another vaccine, Pfizer, then AstraZeneca, Covishield vaccine, then Covaxin, Bharat Biotech, then you have Sputnik vaccine, Sputnik, and a couple of more vaccines are there. All these are getting tested and they have been proved well in many other countries. Alright, but what is the cost? For example, between Covishield and Covaxin that is presently available in India, Covishield is most affordable. It is just about 250-300 rupees, whereas Covaxin is about 700 rupees. But much what do we say? You don't get side effects like side problems like fever or body pains and all after you take the vaccine. They say so. We do not know. Still, the study is totally incomplete. We have totally vaccinated, let's say, about 10 crore people in 130 crore. I'm sorry, 130 crore. We have vaccinated just about 8 or 7 or 8%. But people in other countries have vaccinated more and more of people. And out of 10 crore, the adverse event, we could say that the people who were reinfected was just 17,000, which means it's not very high. Right? Okay. So this, how are we looking at the economics of this? That is, so the way how you look at the history connected to the general information, geography connected to the general information, polity connected to the general information, this is what we call as connecting the dots. This is how the questions will appear in your examination. Any competitive examination, they will try to connect past with the present, make things more relevant, bring things into perspective and give meaning to all that is happening. This is how the general idea of current affairs questions, the direction of current affairs questions will be in the examination. Then you have the sources on current affairs. So what are all the sources that you would want to refer to? Newspapers, it's a must. These are all things that I have put here is a must and should. Newspapers, the Hindu, the Economic Times, then the magazines, Frontline, Business Line, Competitive Success Review. Television, if you are watching BBC World News, Al Jazeera, then I strongly recommend you to listen to the podcast. Podcasts are available on your smartphones. You can just go to the Google Play Store or iStore, whatever, and then download this podcast. Subscribe BBC World News, subscribe to Economist, and subscribe to Time. So these things that I have listed here are a wonderful source of current affairs, and in them it is almost an adequate source, right? I don't think you would need more than any of these to get a glimpse of what's happening in the world on a daily basis. In fact, in the podcasts, as soon as you wake up, you can make it a point that there is a 15-minute roundup world news in the BBC. 15 minutes you spend even at your washroom, you can just listen to it. So that person will give you a ringside view of what happened to the world the previous day, and that starts your day with packed with all the information about the whole world. All right. So the test practice is the last but one slide, and in the next session I will try to take the quiz. Okay, and also give you the answers. Right. Rule 1: take mock tests regularly. Maybe once a week is prescribed. Rule 2: simply follow the rule 1. There is no rule 3. What I am trying to tell you here is very simple, friends. Test your studies. Whatever your test, like how they are talking in the COVID, test. There is no way out. If you have to do something, you have to practically find a way out. Means you will have to measure your skills, and only test is the effective way. When you don't take up tests, it means you are always low in confidence. Any person who is confident will exhibit the interest in taking tests, and only taking tests will help you clear any exams. As many tests as possible, that the exam itself becomes a very, very easy and a cakewalk. Alright? So that must be. We'll meet in the next session.